It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Hey.
And good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. We are up dead early on another marvelous Monday. So happy you can join us. I am your host, Mark Daniel.
And I'm Gabrielle Gardner, and a happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday and also happy February Eve, everybody. We have made it. We made it through the months of January, and we are finally at the end. January is going to be no more in sight. I feel like we should have a whole new, New Year's celebration again at the end of January.
I don't want to rain on your parade, but I don't think today is February Eve.
What is it?
I think we have one more day.
Ah! How many days are here? It's been like...
There's one more.
Scratch that, everybody. Cut. Let's run this again, everybody. From the top, run the intro. In any case, you guys have survived most of January, and we're getting to the end, and we hope you had a wonderful weekend. I enjoyed the weather. How about you? How was your weekend?
I have. I really did enjoy the weather. I had an excellent weekend. In spite of the weather, I spent quite a bit of time outside. I went to the farmer's market, as I enjoy, with my cousins, so I got to spend some time with my family, and then hung out with my husband. It was a great weekend.
That's always good. I went to a small birthday party for a friend of mine. Shout out to Anika. I ain't gonna say your age on TV, but we had a good one. And enjoyed many more laps around the sun. And just was a chill weekend with family. Just low key, I didn't really want to do much.
I think the tone, I feel like once it's not really sunny outside, it gets to a certain level of cool. If there's any chance of rain, it's just like, that's the natural Bahamian signal for stay inside, do nothing.
Do nothing. Cancel all my appointments.
I have to get my husband for this one. So we were supposed to go on a date this week, this weekend, but then he decided he had a million things to do for work. So I was like, you said we were going on a date, and he was like, yeah, we're going to sip and paint. I was like, really? That's so exciting. And he was like, you buy a bottle, and we will go to my office and repaint it. And so that was the sip and paint that I did.
That's a smart man. You got that done. That's some say kill two birds with one stone. I say feed two birds with one seed. There you go, right? Well, good job, man.
So yeah, so I guess it was a date, but I think it was more like free labor. But
hey, where's the line there? The line between love and free labor, it's blurred. It's blurred. Well, glad you guys had an active weekend, got to check something off of the list, and I hope you guys got a good week coming up, a productive week planned. As you know, that we're heading to the end of January, we're going into February, going into the month of love. So those of you who've got your Valentine's plans, your heads up, you got 2 weeks to figure out what you're gonna do for that love of your life, whether it's a husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, mommy, daddy, daughter, or son. Just expressing love. And how about you use the whole month to express love and not just on the day of February 14th. So we've got an exciting show for you today. We're going to be talking about the root of the crisis in Haiti with Hubert Edwards, and also the Bahamas Conference of the Methodist Church is here to talk about their 30th anniversary celebration.
New author Tracey Pritchard is also here to talk about her book launch, which is happening this weekend. Also, Christel's Sands-Feaste presentation from BBO, which was held earlier this month, will be on full display. We'll get into all this and more, but first we'll have a check on weather with Godfrey Burnside.
This is Weather at Sunrise.
Thank you, Gabrielle, and good morning, Bahamas. In your first look at weather at sunrise, a building high pressure across the islands will be the dominant feature throughout the week, meaning quiet weather but some warm temperatures. So today, we're looking at partly sunny and warm. Slight chance of one of those showers across the islands, your high temperature reaching 83 degrees Fahrenheit. Tonight, you can expect a few clouds around the mild side, a low temperature going down to 69 degrees Fahrenheit. And some region highs and lows across the Caribbean: Barbados 86 and 70, in Jamaica 85 and 72, in Trinidad 91 and 70, and the Turks and Caicos Islands 84 and 69. Across North America, Atlanta 58 and 44, in Boston 45 and 26, in Miami 81 and 71, Dallas, Texas 49 and 42, and Toronto, Canada 24 and 17. As you go to the week, high pressure will be the dominant of the future across the islands, and so we're looking at mostly sunny skies, warm temperatures, little breezy over the central and southeastern islands, though temperature daytime will be in the low to mid-80s at daytime, at nighttime upper 60s to lower 70s. That's what you're up in. First look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Davriel.
Thanks, Godfrey. New author Tracey Pritchard shares her personal account of brokenness, pain, and the power of God to heal and restore in her debut book, From Adultery to Ministry, A Journey to Self-Discovery. She joins us now to discuss this. Good morning, Tracey, and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So, I mean, this is quite the title. What inspired you to write this book?
Okay, so I got saved in 2020, through the pandemic, and I had just had like one of those traumatic experiences of my life. I went through a divorce, and that was the time that I sat down and told God, I'm going to give you all of me. And this book is just a snippet into how these last 2.5 years have been through my life as I have.
The islands of the Bahamas. Fly away.
With the help of our authorized financial institutions, or AFIs, using sand dollars is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Step 1. Identify your preferred AFI by browsing their websites or contacting them directly. Step 2. Download the free mobile application from Google Play or the Apple Store and then register for a Sand Dollar account. Step 3. Load money onto your mobile app and begin sending and receiving Sand Dollars or purchasing and selling goods and services.
We are pleased to be
your central bank approved
digital wallet providers.
It does not matter
Which of us you choose.
You can pay for goods and services
wherever Sand Dollar is accepted.
We are all in this together.
Visit sanddollar.bs for more information.
Welcome back. New author Tracey Pritchard shares her personal account of brokenness, pain, and the power of God to heal and restore in her debut book, From Adultery to Ministry, A Journey to Self-Discovery. She joins us now to discuss this. Good morning, Tracey, and welcome to the show.
Good morning. A pleasure to be here.
So this is quite the title and a beautiful book, if I must say so myself.
Thank you.
Tell us about your book.
So, a lot of us, we went through a traumatic experience in 2020. I was no different, but unfortunately, I went through a divorce. And at that time was when I decided to give my life back to God and, try to do a clean slate. And this book is just a snippet into how the last 2.5 years of my life has been as I gave my life to God, as I have now, overcome sexual sin, and I'm now an advocate for single believers to make sure we keep abstinent until we got that ring. And my healing journey, which is no easy task, believe me.
Yeah.
And also my healing journey through therapy as well. So this book touches a lot of areas.
What was the process of writing this book like for you?
So, not to get too spiritual, but this is definitely divine.
Okay.
I've never in my life thought I would be an author. That was the last thing that I thought I would be. I always joke that the only thing I thought I would be signing was a check, not a book. But this is something that God had led me to do into my journey, and He said that this book can help so many people that have gone through the same things. And so within about 2 months, I've sat down a few times and wrote this book.
2 months?
2 months. 2 months, 9 sittings.
Wow.
I counted it. It's 9 sittings I wrote this book. And I said, God, this is your book.
So this is a really just personal, very intimate, very emotional experience that you have chosen to share. Why do you think that you felt pressed upon to share?
I think when we talk about the topic of adultery, it leaves such a stigma. And so many of us find ourselves in that same predicament. No one gets married and says, I'm going to have an extramarital affair or anything like that. But there are so many things that lead up to that. And I just wanted people to know that even if you found yourself in that broken place, that God always has room for you and He can redeem you. And that is my story.
I think what's interesting is usually, when people are sharing their story of instances of adultery, they are sharing from the other side.
Yes.
So you really don't find people talking about the love, the compassion, the restoration that comes when, necessary, where you might be the guilty party in that.
Yes.
So I think that's extremely powerful.
Thank you.
You mentioned you went from adultery to ministry. So let's talk about where you're at in terms of ministry.
Wow. Okay. So about 3 months after I gave my life to God, He said, I want you to start a TikTok. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And so I started my TikTok from 2020. And you can find me on Tracey Pritchard 6 on TikTok, where I talk about the Word of God. I read Bible verses. I send encouraging messages. And then I was led to my home church, which is now Bahamas Harvest with Pastor Mario Moxie. And as soon as I got there, I felt at home, and I started serving almost immediately. So I am a current starting point leader at my church. I have started a movement that's called Purpose Sisters. So I lead a Saturday morning prayer call. I have a YouTube channel with a show called Purpose Sisters Joyride, where we talk about everything woman and Jesus. So it's been a wild ride, and this book is just a part of that.
Wow. That is literally like 0 to 60.
0 to 60, yes.
In a minute. Well, that's awesome. So obviously you have this book. You are doing a book launch this weekend. Tell us, when is that? What time is it? Where is it? And what can people expect if they come out?
All right, so we are having the book launch at Fusion Superplex this Saturday, February 4th, from 3 to 6 p.m. Books are definitely going to be on sale, and I'm going to be there, just talking about the journey, just talking about, some more intricate details about the book, and you get to sign and have a good time.
Okay. If people don't make it out to the event on Saturday, where can they purchase your book?
Well, the book is actually available on Amazon, Kindle and paperback version for your international viewers. Anyone can message me, either Facebook at Tracey Philippa, Instagram at Tracey Philippa, and they can contact me personally to get a signed copy of it.
If you had to leave something with our viewers about what God has done in your life, what would that be?
It would be that no matter how deep the ditch you have dug for yourself, God is faithful to lift you out.
I love that. Have you had your friends, family, have you let anyone read the book before it's come out?
I had one person read the book before it came out, but there have been persons who have purchased the book already, and the response has been absolutely amazing. I think I've been crying every single day from the responses from the book, but it's really touching lives already, and I can't wait to see what God does with it.
And what do you think that, I mean, obviously you have so much going on in terms of ministry, and you've been through a lot, and there seems to be a tapestry almost, you know, weaving those negative experiences into positive experiences. What do you envision for the next few years of life and ministry for yourself?
Wow. So I've never thought about me being in ministry until I was actually in it. But I definitely want to write more. I want to see the Ministry of Purpose Sisters grow. I want to continue my journey as a starting point leader, that bringing people from the world to experience Jesus the way I've experienced him. You know, I just want my life to be a testament of God's faithfulness, you know, and that, like I said, no matter what you've been through, no matter whether it's been sexual sin or whether it's been addictions, anything that you've been through, God is able to pull you out of it. And that's honestly, that's going to be the story of my life.
You've gone from a really painful experience, and I wouldn't necessarily say you flipped it, because the joy doesn't necessarily mean that the pain didn't exist. But, you know, this journey, literally your journey from adultery to ministry, what do you think you found most rewarding about this entire experience?
That I'm still worthy of love.
Wow.
You know, a lot of times when we make these decisions, because I won't call it a mistake, we make these decisions and then we kind of feel like we're not worthy, that we're not worthy to be loved, we're not worthy to be trusted, we have nothing of value to offer anyone. And God has shown me that that is far from the truth. Far from the truth.
Wow. That's extremely powerful. I am so happy for you. Congratulations to you on this incredible accomplishment. I wish you all the best in terms of the sales.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being on the show.
All right.
And thank you for watching Bahamas at Sunrise. Be sure to be at Fusion Superplex this weekend to pick up your personal copy of Tracey's book. Give us a minute. We'll be right back.
The push-to-talk device is a beautiful device. It operates on our world-class cellular network. You can take pictures, you can take videos, you can put your persons in different groups. If they want the engineering team to have a different communication than the finance team or the security team, you can do that with the push-to-talk device. And that's not something that you can actually do with a regular communications radio device. We have several different types of devices. There's the 380, the 580 plus, and then there's the 590 plus, which is the top of the line device.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem, just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Hi, I'm Ria Christina, and I'm super excited to be the new host of You and Your Money, a local international bank that has actually been closing some of their branches. It actually gives me an opportunity to share my views, my take on the financial matters. Even when we think about what's happening globally, we still have a lot of work to do in terms of having to educate business owners as to the importance, the economic impact, and how it is that we can look at improving the Bahamian economy. $1 billion. That's how much we spend every year importing food in this country. It also gives me an opportunity to have conversations, and that's meaningful conversations with thought leaders within our community, even having to see how it is that we can work together or even the opportunities that may exist for many Bahamians. So I'm excited to be here and looking forward to the great conversations that's to come.
Welcome back to the show. Widespread violence, political instability, and even a cholera outbreak have been created in an unprecedented crisis in Haiti. Here to talk with us about this is Hubert Edwards, the principal at Next Level Solution and chair of the Organization for Responsible Governance's Economic Development Committee. Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise, Mr. Edwards.
Good morning, a pleasure to be here with you.
Always a pleasure having a conversation with you and getting your perspective on the topic of the day. Today we're talking about the crisis in Haiti. And my first question to you is, are Haitians who flee here to the Bahamas considered economic refugees?
I think in general, persons tend to classify them as economic refugee because these persons are fleeing from a poverty-stricken situation. And in most instances, persons, they're looking for a better way of life. But a more careful analysis of what is happening on the ground, when you look at the violence, when you look at the operations of the gangs, when you think about the news which is coming out that women and children are being raped and that sort of a thing, I think you have to start at some point in time to consider that they are more than economic refugees. And so the broad classification sometimes, I think, does not do justice from the outside world looking in at them and how they may be treated. But overall, it's really in a gray area. I know in the Bahamas for sure, persons see them largely as economic refugee. I would like to look at it a little bit broader given the circumstances on the ground.
Yes, it's definitely a complex situation that we can't look at from the surface, as you mentioned. We're looking at the manifestation of decades of instability. What has our PM said about the crisis in Haiti, and do you believe that the Bahamas can help to stabilize our neighboring country?
Well, the Prime Minister said a number of things. Some of them, I think, very, very important. One of the things that he said is that the situation in Haiti represents a very, very substantial threat to the Bahamas, and that is so. He also made another statement when he was in Argentina, where he said that we mean, I guess, the international community, have the ability through leadership to help Haiti find a path out of this crisis. And I believe that that is an accurate statement, is an accurate way to do that. The fact of the matter is, from my perspective, the Bahamas has so much to lose in this whole process. Strategically, it behooves the country to find the way to provide leadership in this. And as a result of the Prime Minister becoming the chair of CARICOM this year, I think he is placed at the right time right now to be able to provide that leadership and should provide that leadership, because the one thing I think the Bahamas cannot do, Mark, is it cannot divorce itself from this situation and say that there is nothing that we can do. So like you said, the Prime Minister has said a number of things. The last statement that I read when he said that we're doing everything that we can. I think that may be a premature statement. It may have been a discussion for internal purposes. But when you look at what he has been doing over the years, over the last 18 months or so, his campaign, his international discussion around climate change and the need for the Caribbean to come together and do something, I think he has positioned himself to be able to leverage those relationships that he has created internationally to bring greater focus to this Asian issue.
Yes, and the history of the Bahamas and Haiti are definitely intertwined, and I think we are at a point where, as a people, we have to accept that not only are our histories intertwined, but our futures are also intertwined, and we just can't sit back. And speaking of that, we are talking about CARICOM. Has CARICOM let down Haiti in any way?
In a very unequivocal way, yes. In many ways. CARICOM has, in my mind, over the years, not lived up to its own great aspirations, not live up to its objective, because in a large way, the countries within CARICOM act very selfishly. And at the end of the day, we move always away from what is in the best interest of the collective, and we always think about what is in our best interest. If you go back to the original attempt to do this with the Federation, when there was a referendum in Jamaica, moved out. And the great statement by, I think, Eric Williams from Trinidad, which says, 1 from 10 is not. 1 from 10 is 0. That's the kind of a mentality that CARICOM has taken to these issues over the years. But I think right now, right here, CARICOM has a role to play. The international agencies have tried, and it has been proven that the external, and by external I mean outside of the region, those type of initiatives, they don't work. They don't work. You don't parachute some people in, you don't put in a paramilitary group, you don't give aid, and then all of a sudden, you know, a couple months or a year or so, you go away and the problem is solved. It will not be solved. And so we need to find a way through CARICOM to seek to secure sustainable solutions, long-term solutions which create investment and development, economic development in the country, and change the political environment, change what is happening fundamentally so that persons can feel like they have a country that they want to live in and they want to stay in. Until we get to that stage, it's going to be difficult, but it's a long-term solution.
As an alumni of the great University of the West Indies, Mona campus, we learned about the power and the potential of CARICOM, and I had always hoped to see it truly realized one day to its full potential. Maybe they can flex their muscles for Haiti. What help does Haiti need to stimulate economic growth and infrastructure and national development?
Well, it certainly is. Again, we must not underestimate the complexity of this issue. And so there are multiple things which have to be put on multiple tracks. So you have to work at the political level and make sure that you get the right type of a leadership which is committed to democracy and committed to doing the things for the will of the people, and not to, you know, get back to the state where we have seen in Haiti over a number of years where you have despotic type of a government. You have to also deal with the security issues and the gaps. And so that has to be put on. But very, very important, there need to be investment that is going into the country, which is going to now start to create a situation where in the long term, over the near to long term, they start to have the ability to trade. The model which has been used of putting aid into the country is not working. And oftentimes, the agencies that go in there as helpers actually go in there and help themselves. So they give the money out of one pocket and put it right back into the next pocket. That is something which has to be moved away from. I've heard a recent statement from, I think, the Deputy General of the United Nations. And she's basically saying, you know, all countries in the world who can send some people that we can put together a paramilitary group to go inside there, that is going to be madness. You're going to be doing the same thing over and repeatedly. I'm not saying security is not important, but security is only one part and parcel of this whole thing. Unless we get to the point where there's economic development, people feel free to stay, persons can work and grow and pursue their dreams and aspirations, it's not going to change. And the one thing we must understand in this part, that this is not something which is going to be solved in the next year, 2 years, or 3 years. It has to be for the long term. And so in recent times, I had a discussion around the idea where I saw an article coming out of Barbados, which is proposing that we develop a Marshall Plan type approach for Haiti. And I believe that that has some instructive value.
Well, Hubert Edwards, we always appreciate you coming on the show and giving us your insight. Very complex discussion here, very complex topic, but I appreciate your viewpoints, and very well said. Once again, Haiti and the Bahamas, we have an intricate history. It's my personal belief that our futures are also intertwined, not only Haiti and the Bahamas, but the CARICOM as well. And we must not forget the role that Haiti played in lighting the fire of independence within our region and opening its doors to freed slaves all across the region. And so as Haiti calls out to us, we must respond. So thank you again, Mr. Hubert Edwards, for being on the show this morning. Always appreciate your comments and your insight, and we look forward to speaking to you again.
Certainly a pleasure, and for our brothers and sisters in Haiti and for the Caribbean at large, I hope this time we really set out to find a real plan which can make this work.
Very well said. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
The Euro device is very affordable. It allows you to increase your internet connectivity. You are able to do away with the buffering. say goodbye to the dead spots. It gives them a much more stable connection. Their customers are able to view their digital menus. The establishment is able to stream. It allows for everyone, the customers and the business operators, to have a much more robust and stable internet connectivity.
One thing, two things, blue thing, old things, things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
What do you want from a cloud solution? You want flexibility and edge? You want to modernize applications with the ability to deliver new ones with lightning speed. You want an infrastructure that's automated, secure, cost-effective, and scalable. You want to give the end user the freedom they want with the control you need. You can't get all that from just any cloud. You need something better. You need Bahamas Cloud. Contact the experts today at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
And welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. You're joining us dead early on another marvelous Monday. We are here at the mid-show. My name is Mark Daniels.
And I'm Davriel Gardner.
And we are here after having a great conversation with Hubert Edwards talking about Haiti. We all know that's a very complex subject. There are many different viewpoints on the crisis in Haiti and what that means to the Bahamas and what's our ability to respond to that crisis. And most I would say is we need to continue to have open discussions where people can express themselves. We understand that it's very sensitive to some people, but it's a discussion that has to be had. We can't ignore it. So talk about it on all levels, not with hate and prejudice, but solution-based discussions, because without that, we're just going to continue on this merry-go-round of shame and blame and not really get to the root of the problem, which, if we really think about it critically, we can find it and hopefully provide a solution to our sister in the South, right?
Very well said.
Yeah. I'm very pro-region, so I love the Caribbean. I think we're the most powerful region in the world, next to the African continent itself. I think we have a lot to be proud of. We have a lot to grow. The same track that the Bahamas is on with our 50 year of independence. As a region, we're still maturing, and so we have to look for opportunities so we can come together and flex our muscles, because we got it. Like they say in Jamaica, we little but we talawa. So watch out for the Caribbean. We coming.
Absolutely. I think when I traveled to Africa, I had a real, I guess, I don't want to say come to Jesus moment, but I really understood, like, we're all the same. There was so much similarity that I saw with people or practices from all of the Caribbean regions. And they took me to a buffet, and I'm like, is this Sunday dinner? Like, they had, right. You know, so many things that look very familiar, and you realize we're really all from the same place.
Yep. You know, we all express ourselves the same in a different way. You know, the colors, the food, the music, the vibe, the language. There's so much that we share. So I encourage you, if you've never been to another Caribbean nation, go and check it out. You know, you got plenty to choose from the setup in the north all the way down to the southern Antilles. You have so much to choose from. And our Caribbean brothers and sisters, come to the Bahamas. I know you all think that we is this and that. I went to UE, so I know what y'all are saying about us. But come enjoy, and let's share and let's exchange, because there's unity and strength.
Absolutely.
Well, so let's go on to our second half of the show. Looking forward to what we got coming up. We have the Bahamas Conference of the Methodist Churches here to talk about their 30th anniversary.
And we'll check out Christel Sands-Feaste's presentation from the BBO, which was held earlier this month. But for now, we'll take a second look at weather with Godfrey Burnside.
This is Weather at Sunrise.
Thank you, Gabrielle. Good morning, Bahamas. In your second look at weather at sunrise, building high pressure will become the dominant feature across the islands throughout the week. Quiet and warm temperatures throughout the week, so go there and enjoy yourself during this week. In the marine forecast today, those winds southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots, 3 to 4 feet over Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Bimini, but east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, 3 to 4 feet over the remainder of the northwest and central Bahamas, 15 to 20 knots, 4 to 6 feet over the southeastern islands. So we do have a caution over the southeastern islands. On Tuesday, across all the islands, easterly at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet in northwest Bahamas, 15 knots, sea 3 to 5 feet over the central and southeastern islands. On Wednesday, southeasterly at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the northwest and central Bahamas, northeast to east at 15 to 20 knots, sea 4 to 6 feet over the southeastern islands. Your tides. You can expect a low tide at 9:24 this morning. High tide will be at 3:06 this afternoon. Low gain tonight at 9:16. Sunset will be at 5:52 this evening. Rising more at 6:52. UV index 8. Your water temperature 71 degrees Fahrenheit. Honeymoon phase first quarter. Your extended look at high pressure will be the dominant feature throughout the week. So we're looking at mostly sunny skies, warm temperatures, slight chance of 1 or 2 showers, little breezy over the central and southeastern islands. Temperature daytime will be in the low to mid-80s at daytime, at nighttime upper 60s to lower 70s. That was wrapping your fun look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Godfrey. The Bahamas Conference of the Methodist Church will celebrate its 30th anniversary in July of this year, and they are planning several exciting events to commemorate the occasion. Here with us are Reverend Carla Culmer, President of the BCMC, and Reverend Dr. Colin Archer, founding President Emeritus of BCMC. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning.
Such a pleasure to have you here. We're up there early. I just feel this set feels so light right now. There's so much good energy flowing in there. I feel at peace. So thank you for joining us this morning.
You brought the energy.
Me? All right. We're balancing it out, right? Dr. Archer, tell us about the early days on the journey to become autonomous.
Well, like most Protestant churches in the Caribbean, Methodism came to the Bahamas, the Bahama Islands, in 1783 by a freed African-American slave named Joseph Paul. He came with his wife Suzette and 3 children, and believe it or not, they first came to the Bahamas in what we know now as Treasure Key, Carlton. And they lived there for about a year, came to the Bahamas, and Joseph Paul, this freed African-American slave, brought Methodism to the Bahamas. It was not until 1800, about 12, 13 years after, the Methodist Church in Britain sent its first missionary out to establish British Methodism, formal Methodism. And he was a Barbadian of mixed race who came to the Bahamas in 1800. And from 1800 till 1976, the Bahamas Church was a part of the British Church, or the British Conference. And in 1976, there was an idea afoot to bring all the Caribbean Methodist congregations, Haiti, Barbados, St. Lucia, the Caribbean islands, Jamaica, all of them, into one conference and to form a Caribbean conference. They were all part of the British Church up to then. So we wanted to become an autonomous Caribbean church. The Bahamas voted against it in 1967. We want to remain with the British or become autonomous ourselves in our own right. But in 1968, we agreed to become a part of that conference, what we know as the MCCA. And in 1970, there was a thing afoot for these different conferences in the Caribbean to become more autonomous in their own right. And the Bahamas was the champion in that. And there was resistance and all that. And in 1990, one of the churches actually seceded on its own, one of the congregations in Spanish Wells. And something happened in 1990 with a man named Don Cornish, who is now a civil servant. The same Don Cornish, he became an administrator. He was not accepted from the Bahamas Conference into the Caribbean Conference. And it triggered a situation where Abaco, believe it or not, bought a resolution in 1991 that we become an autonomous Bahamian church. Wow. So that's a short and long. And it was 3 years of struggle in between that. And in 1993, August the 2nd, a bill was passed to become a autonomous Bahamian church. So this year will mark 30 years since we became fully autonomous.
Wow, that's a great story. I don't want you to pass over some of those struggles. Just tell us briefly, there were some challenges in the foundational years?
Oh, there were lots of legal troubles. Actually, in the early 70s, there was an idea that all these Caribbean conferences, Jamaica, Barbados, that I mentioned earlier, should have more autonomy. And there was a commission that went on for 9 years. And in 1990, they came out with a report that said basically you can't have it. After 9 years of talking about it. And so we, as they say, we yucked away. The Bahamas say we can't wait anymore because we're just not moving as a church. Right. And it was 3 years of legal hassles that actually went up to the Privy Council. So, but that part, I've written 2 books about it. So if you want to read more about it.
You're going to have to tell us where to find those books. There definitely is a lot of history there.
I write books, but I don't promote them.
But make sure to tell us before we go so our viewers can find it. It's definitely an interesting story, and it tells the history of the BCMC. Reverend Culmer, you are the current president. Yes. Where is the BCMC now, and what progress has been made?
Well, you know, we started out with 4 ministers at autonomy, and now we've had an increase in Bahamian ministers. We've established the diaconal order where we allow more persons, other avenues for people to be in ministry. The members have a greater autonomy from the former days where they have a say in the leadership, a say in where the future of the conference is going. There's an increase in lay preachers. We are developing a greater contribution to our schools, Queens College, St. Michael's Preschool, and also even with technology. You know, we use a lot more technology for our conferences. I think we're probably one of the first conferences during COVID to have conference online and also to have an election online, as well as we do classes and stuff through technology. So there's a lot of things that have happened over the 30 years.
Very progressive. This year celebrating 30 years. Tell us about the theme, Recommitting to the Mission, Celebrating 30 Years.
Well, it's derived from Luke 14:23, where the master sends the servant out to go and bring people in, compel them to come in. And we want to remind our members of the priesthood of all believers. This is a concept of Methodist, that every member, from our children, our youth, and our adults, that we can all be in mission, that we can all reach the community, because the truth is we're not satisfied with where the Bahamas is. And all of us must find our role in bringing others into the kingdom. And so we want them to get out there, recommit again, to being mission-oriented.
And get to work, right?
Of course.
Get to work.
Yes.
Dr. Archer, what impact would you say the BCMC has had in our nation?
You know, that's a very difficult question to ask. You probably could ask that question about every denomination in the Bahamas, and each of us would probably stumble and say, well, you know, we try to do our bit in terms of social reform, but I have a very radical understanding of what the church is. You know, we say the church's one foundation is Jesus Christ, our Lord. I don't think we've done a very good job with representing Jesus Christ, quite frankly, as a church, or all the churches. I think we've spent a lot of time with a lot of flutter and glitz and glamour. But the spirit of Christ, I think, is a very difficult one. Actually, it's something I've struggled with. I led that Methodist struggle as the first president. Right. It was my idea and a couple others. But I've always had a kind of, I wouldn't say love-hate relationship to the church, but love and dissonance on the other hand. I love the church. It's given me my education, everything I have. But I feel we just keep missing the point, you know, in terms of representing the spirit of Christ.
And why do you think that is?
Because I think we are susceptible to the mores and standards and for instance, people want to be a part of what I call an entertainment church. Because we're an entertainment people. Bahamians like to entertain. And so if you're doing, and so we spend so much time entertaining that I think we lose the essence of what the spirit of Jesus is all about. You know, my first book was on poverty, the church's abandoned revolution. It says, how come you have a rich church. Most of us are middle class and wealthy people, but a poor Christ, a poor Jesus, and that always mystified me. The church really should be essentially for the least among us, not the best among us. So my way of saying that, I think we have a long way to go. And these 30 years, with Carla, President Culmer and others, I think we have a fantastic opportunity for the future. The young ministers that we're having coming forward, and I think we're going to break the mold. It's taken 30 years, and we're just about getting there.
Well, you know, 30 years is a blip in time.
Exactly.
It is a blip in time, but I love your analysis of the current situation. Reverend Culmer, tell us about the activities planned for the 30th anniversary celebration. I hear there's good things, church services, banquets, competitions.
Yes, right. On June 30th, we're having a banquet to honor persons who have been a part of the struggle and for the 30 years. July 2nd, we're going to have a March of Witness and Motorcade. And on July 1st, we have that. And July 2nd, we will have the service to commemorate the actual date when our church was established. Additionally, we're going to have a song competition where persons will either write an original song or update the tune for a hymn. And we will have an art competition. And there are going to be other events all through the year.
For the competitions going on, is this solely for the church members? Or is this open to the public? Anybody can participate?
Well, you know, originally they had sent it out to the church, but I'm sure, you know, we can look at it because persons will probably want to participate and be a part of it because it will benefit us all.
Yeah, and it's exciting, and once again, to get to learn about the BCMC and be a part of the celebrations that are going on.
Yes.
What are the criteria for the selection of honorees during this anniversary celebration?
We're going to look at the pioneer persons who were original, and also, you know, in the 30 years, there have been people who've set the foundation for all us persons who've come behind. So we want to honor those persons, the pioneers, the visionaries, and the persons who've sustained the church during those 30 years.
I guess you both can answer. We'll start with you, Reverend Culmer. What are some of the vital ministries of the BCMC?
Well, I want to start first with education. The Methodist is big on education. You know, we do a lot of work through our schools, St. Michael's Preschool, Queens College is the oldest private school in the country. We continue to do development, our radio ministries. We also partner with the government in managing 2 homes, the Naomi Christie Home and the Binley Lane Children's Home. We do work with a Methodist Habitat, do hurricane relief, and you know, helping with the persons in disaster times. And also our churches in our communities, they do a lot of outreach.
That's great.
Counseling, you know, soup kitchens, being there for people in need.
Yeah, because you know, the church is bigger than the church walls, correct?
That's correct.
And people must feel you in the communities that you serve. Tell us, what do you think are some of the most important ministries of the BCMC?
Well, you know, the church, by the way, the Methodist Church as an autonomous church is probably one, apart from the Baptists, that are truly autonomous in this country. All the other churches have their ties outside the country.
Right.
So to begin with, we believe we have a more congregational model rather than a minister or priest-based model. We believe in the church that works from the people up rather than the priests or ministers down. That was a big thing. And remember also, our anniversary, the 30th year, is on the 2nd of July, and our national independence is on the 10th of July. So we'll be celebrating 30 and 50. We don't want people to go out there buying numbers now. But it's interesting, our country is celebrating its 50th on the 10th of July, and we're celebrating our 30th on
2nd July.
So when we became autonomous, the country was just 20 years old.
Wow. And, you know, once again, there's been so many contributions from the BCMC as a body, from its members.
Oh, amazing.
And the unsung heroes that work on a day-to-day basis, those that visit people in need, that counsel, that the unseen works that get done. That's right. And so I'm sure that this celebration will also highlight those persons in the BCMC, but as you said, also highlighting those big players, the leaders that helped to set the foundation for the BCMC. 30 years in and another 30 more plus to go, right?
Started.
Well, we'd like to thank you again for coming on the show this morning, talking about the BCMC, the Bahamas Conference of the Methodist Church, celebrating 30 years, helping to shape this country. Lots of fun events planned for July. So I'd like to thank you again, Reverend Carla Culmer, for being on the show, President of the BCMC, and Reverend Dr. Colin. Thank you again for being on the show.
And thank you for having us. We really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, always a pleasure to bring you here.
Keep up the good works.
Yes.
Hey, I want to take some of this energy with me. You guys are so peaceful,
You got it,
man.
buddy.
I need this all week. The set is so zen. Thanks again for joining us this morning, Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Attention customers, next Tuesday, a major hurricane will cause complete confusion and chaos throughout the entire Bahamas. Water, phone, and internet services will be in short supply. Definite data loss is expected to all local and family island businesses.
Disasters don't plan ahead, but you can. Be ready with push-to-talk service that keeps you connected with your workforce with a simple push of a button. Contact the experts today at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Island.
The islands of the Bahamas. Fly away.
Welcome back. Rising above, going beyond, doing business in the Bahamas was the topic of the presentation by Christel Sands-Feaste at Bahamas Business Outlook. Here's a portion of her address.
The TCL Group hosted the 32nd Annual Bahamas Business Outlook Conference recently under the theme Forward, Upward, Onward Together, in celebration of the anniversary of the nation's 50th independence. Christel Sands-Feaste, partner at Higgs & Johnson Counsel and Attorneys at Law, addressed the topic Rising Above, Going Beyond, Doing Business in the Bahamas, and shared how businesses operating in the Bahamas contribute to the growth and development of our nation.
50 years. What can we celebrate? So, according to some recent statistics, there are approximately 50,000 licensed businesses in the Bahamas. I invite you to consider this. Every single business enterprise operating in the Bahamas is important. Every business enterprise contributes to the growth and economic activity of this country. Every large business, every medium-sized business, every small business, every micro business. And when I say micro business, I mean the single business proprietor, the individual who's working for themselves, the hairdressers, the barbershops, everything, small and large. Collectively, we are all important because we are contributing to the growth and development of the Bahamas. And that is something to celebrate. Business owners live, work, employ persons, go to school, send their children to church, go to church, invest in our communities. And in many communities throughout the Bahamas, business establishments, large and small, are the epicenter. They are the heart of these communities. In addition, businesses provide valuable capital for critical infrastructure through PPPs. And I see one of my presenters later today will be speaking about that. What is a prime example, an example that's top of mind? Nassau International Airport, Lyndon Pinling International Airport. It's iconic in this region, the gateway to the country, but a perfect example of public and private sector coming together to really create something that's transformational. What else do we have to celebrate? We have become a mature, diverse tourist destination with some of the most iconic and unique experiences in the world. Where can you go? What other country can you go to? You can choose an iconic resort like this one where we are today, but at the same time, you can choose to go to a smaller island, Eleuthera, where I'm from, Cat Island, where the Prime Minister is from, and the prior moderator is from as well. Some of the other islands in the Bahamas, to be on the beach by yourself. The only person on the beach by yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, that's something to celebrate. There have been some stellar and very encouraging numbers in terms of, I think they call it rage tourism, where everyone is excited about coming into the Bahamas. And that's exciting, very exciting in terms of how the future looks like, how the Bahamas is emerging post-COVID. More importantly, Bahamians have been able to take advantage of some of the most, every single entrepreneurial opportunity in every sector that is available. For my part, being born in a post-independent Bahamas, There was never the thought that as a Bahamian, you could not do anything that you wanted to do, that you could aspire to do. That is something to be celebrated. And in our lifetimes, we have seen, my generation, have seen this country facilitate development, facilitate opportunity in every business sector in this country. Let's go, I think for a moment, let's just celebrate Joan, for example. I think someone mentioned the 32nd year. Let's just take a moment to celebrate Joan Albury and the Council is Limited and her team. As I mentioned, everyone is important. The business owner is important, all of her team members are important, and she's done a great job as an ambassador advocate for the Bahamas in hosting events of this nature all around the Bahamas. She doesn't only focus on New Providence, I might add. Her brand focuses on all of the islands in the Bahamas, so all of the islands have an opportunity to advocate for the issues that they are experiencing. Another point of note is the Bahamas. We can be proud of the Bahamas' reputation as a well-regulated financial services jurisdiction, which is compliant with international best practices. We've seen recent reports that the Bahamas is not regulated. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing could be further from the truth. The Bahamas, in the financial services sector, the banking app, the first banking app was 1909. And we've had probably 5 different iterations of banking legislation since 1909. The Bahamas has regulated, for example, other financial services products like mutual funds from 1995. The Bahamas has had cutting-edge trust legislation from 2000. We've recently heard the Attorney General and the Prime Minister tout the Bahamas accomplishing the largely compliant status in the AML, anti-money laundering, counter-terrorist financing regime. Only the second country in this region to achieve that. We are well regulated. We are compliant. We have been for a very long time. We have a long history and rich history as being a jurisdiction of choice for financial services. And there are many commercial banks that have been in the Bahamas for a very, very long time. In addition, we are innovative, and we should be proud of that. The Bahamas continues to refine and enhance its regulatory framework. We don't just stand still, ladies and gentlemen. I use the banking legislation as an example. We've been refining, we've been changing since 1909. As things change, we've been updating, we've been modernizing. We do not stand still. That spirit of innovation is something to be proud of, particularly in an independent Bahamas. I spoke about the Bahamas as a jurisdiction of choice for private banking. In addition, the Bahamas has a toolkit of fiduciary and wealth structuring products. Nothing has changed. We have been well regulated. We comply with international standards. Those products are still the same, tried and tested. Those trust products, those estate planning products, I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, the Bahamas is a jurisdiction of choice. All of us in this room, we know the products and services that we provide. Those services are critical to what we do to our business enterprises, and we can be proud of the services and products and structures that we have developed as Bahamians. In terms of innovation, let's talk about some of the innovative structures that the Bahamas has offered in the financial services space as an example. The Bahamas has been regulating investment funds from 1995. It offers smart funds, some unique, versatile investment fund vehicles since 2003. The Bahamas offered investment condominiums, another vehicle used in the structuring of investment funds, since 2014. And more recently, regulating the digital asset space, the DARE Act, in 2020. The Bahamas is one of the few jurisdictions in the world that regulates that sector. And I assure you, it is broader than cryptocurrency. It regulates digital assets businesses, it regulates token offerings, it is innovative, it is forward-thinking, and we should be proud of that. The sand dollar, the central bank digital currency. The Bahamas was the first country in the world, I might add, to conduct a nationwide rollout of a central bank digital currency in 2019. The central bank is one of the sponsors there, and we should be proud of that. We should be proud as Bahamians of offering such an innovative product. Bank of America really recently acknowledged this past week that central bank digital currencies backed by central banks are critical to the future of money. our little country was the first country in the world in 2019 to do a nationwide rollout of that. We should be proud of that as Bahamians.
For Bahamas at Sunrise, this is Suzette Parker.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. It has been an incredible Monday morning filled with inspiration, educational, inspiring debate, that educational presentation that we just watched. What do you make of today's show, Mark?
It's a good way to start the week, a good way to end January. Which
sort of.
Should be ending sometime within the next week, I think. I stopped counting. But as we go into February, it's the month of love. Some people also recognize it as Black History Month. So I love the conversation today about Haiti, and look out for more stimulating discussions as we go through this month. I'm going to be hitting you with some facts and some knowledge. So look out for that. I love February. And it's also the month of my father's birthday. So looking forward to that.
Well, I want to say gentlemen, but I'm going to be equal opportunity here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your warning that Valentine's Day is in 2 weeks. So you can start getting ready about that. But thank you for watching today's show. We hope that you enjoyed, and we'll see you on Friday.
See ya. Have a great week.